You're good. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for a second week of Pre-K Art Day, our virtual Pre-K Art Day here at the Living Arts and Science Center. My name is Miss Ashley, and behind the camera we have Miss Heather, as usual. So today, while we wait for a few more friends to jump on, I want to introduce you to Axel and Rose. These are our axolotls. We have a lot of animals here at the Living Arts and Science Center. Last week we talked about our corn snake, Speedy, and today I want to introduce you to Axel and Rose. So they are axolotls. Heather, where are axolotls from?
Axolotls are native to Mexico.
And what kind of animal are they? They kind of look like a salamander.
They are totally salamanders, but the really cool thing about axolotls is that they live their entire lives in the water.
All right, let's come get a really close view of them. So these axolotls are all white. And something really special about them, if we hold a black light up to them, you can see that they glow. Now, what is that stuff coming off of their face? Is that their hair?
So, really good question, Miss Ashley. Those are actually their gills. They're external gills. And that's how they get their oxygen and breathe.
Wow. Now, I want to share a little something about this girl up front here, Miss Rose. So, axolotls are carnivores, which means sometimes when they get angry, they may accidentally bite their tank mates. And so when she turns around, you'll see, hopefully, that her left hand actually is regrowing right now. So they got into a little bit of a fight, and Miss Rose lost her hand, but she is regrowing it right now. Something really special about axolotls. All right. So let's take some time and head on over to our maker space so we can start some crafts. And as we do that, you'll see Speedy. Speedy, our corn snake. Say, hey, Speedy. Oh, he's tired. All right, follow me into our maker space. If you weren't with us last week, this is a room full of creativity. So when we are open during normal hours, this is a spot where you can come and kind of take a break from all the exhibits in our space here. You can play some puzzle games, you can build some Lego blocks, some moon rovers. So it's a really fun space to be in when you're here. Today's story is one of my favorites. It's Where the Wild Things Are. So if you have your story with you and you want to follow along at home, now's the time to grab your book. But if you don't have it, it's okay. Guess what? Miss Heather's going to come in super close so we can all look together. So Where the Wild Things Are. The night Max wore his wolf suit and made mischief of one kind and another. Oh, he's causing some mischief with that puppy. Poor puppy. His mother called him Wild Thing, and Max said, I'll eat you up. So he was sent to bed without eating anything. Oh, I bet his tummy was grumbling. That very night, in Max's room, a forest grew. And grew. And grew until his ceiling hung with vines, and the walls became the world all around. It doesn't look like his bedroom anymore, does it? And an ocean tumbled by with a private boat for Max, and he sailed off through the night and day. And in and out of weeks, and almost over a year, to where the wild things are. Oh, look at And when he came to the place where the wild things are, they roared their terrible roar, and gnashed their terrible teeth, and rolled their terrible eyes, and showed their terrible claws. Till Max said, "Be still," and tamed them with the magic trick of staring into their yellow eyes without blinking once. And they were frightened and called him the most wild thing of all. And made him king of all the wild things. "And now," cried Max, "let the wild rumpus start." Sounds like a party. So we see Max and the wild things dancing in the moonlight. What kind of music do you all see or hear in your head? I think I hear lots of trumpets. So now they're swinging through those trees. They are so wild. Oh, and they've got him on their back like a big parade. Maybe now in our minds we hear some trombones and some drums like it's a big parade marching down the street. "Now stop," Max said, and sent the wild things off to bed without their supper. And Max, the king of all wild things, was lonely and wanted to be where someone loved him best of all. Then, all around, from far away across the world, he smelled good things to eat. So he gave up being king of where the wild things are. But the wild things cried, "Oh, please don't go. We'll eat you up, we love you so." And Max said no. The wild things roared their terrible roars, and gnashed their terrible teeth, and rolled their terrible eyes, and showed their terrible claws. But Max stepped into his private boat and waved goodbye, and sailed back over a year, and in and out of weeks, and through a day. And into the night of his very own room, where he found his supper waiting for him. And it was still hot. The end. So thank you for following along with me with the wild things are. Now, I'm going to teach you and your grown-up how to make your very own monster costume. So if you guys have any questions while we're working today, feel free to make a comment and Ms. Heather will let me know. Or if you just want to say hey, because we really miss having you here at the Living Arts and Science Center, I'm going to say hey back to you. So today's project is going to be some teamwork involved. So you and your grown-up are going to have to work together because we're going to be using some scissors. Now I remember when you all were here, some of us were really, really good at our scissor skills. And some of us were just trying them out for the first time. So you and your grown-up decide what parts should be done by your grown-up and what parts you want to practice on. So first, we're going to start with our vest. So I told you on Friday you will need a grocery bag right here. So the first thing you're going to do with our grocery bag, we're going to open it up. It looks a little different than this one I've got over here. So we're going to turn it into a vest as our first step. So grown-ups, if you want to help this part, you are going to cut along right in that center line all the way up. When we reach the top here, you're going to even cut about halfway there. That way it opens up really well. triangles right at the top here, just so that neckline can come through. So I'm cutting a little triangle down here on the front, and I'm going to turn that into our neckline up top here, kind of making a circle all the way around. And I'll come back down here and start on another triangle on the front here, and I'll connect that with our neckline up top. All right, so now we have a vest that can open up top, but how do our arms come out? So this might be a spot where you and your grown-up can work together. And if you're not ready, grown-ups, this is going to be an easy cut. On our side of our bag here, we're going to fold it in half so that it kind of comes out towards us. Kind of the opposite of the way the bag is folded. And we're going to make a semicircle. So not a whole circle around, we're going to make half of a circle. And while that's folded, you'll see it actually cuts out an entire circle. So we're going to come here with our folded side of the bag. We're going to cut out half of a circle. And when we open it up, now we can fit our hand in. So if your young person's hand or arm is a little bigger than that, feel free to make it a little longer here, or just kind of snip this side here. So we have a place for our arms to go through. We have a place for our necks to go through. Now, let me show you some fun ways we can decorate our costume. So I made one a little bit ago. If your monster is mean and scary and likes to gnash his teeth, maybe he's got spikes all over him. So if you would like to make spikes on your costume, let me show you how to do that. You and your grown-up, you're going to work together on this one. This is definitely a two-person part. So you're going to fold your bag just like you did with that arm. And instead of cutting a semicircle, you're going to grab your scissors and you're just going to make some straight lines like that. If you make a big cut, your spikes are going to be really big. And if you make a little cut, your spikes are going to be a little smaller. So all along that folded side, we're going to make some straight lines. And then when we open it up, you can fold these points out. So now you've got a really spiky monster vest. If I saw this, I would be very scared of him. He's like a dragon. Now maybe your monster isn't scary. Maybe your monster is kind of silly, like my monster is. And so maybe on your arms, you can give him some silly armpit hair. Some crazy hair coming out of the bottom of that armhole. And we're going to do some squiggles. Oh, and maybe that monster's a little stinky. So we'll put some stinky lines by his armpits. Because he has been having a wild rumpus, and he is sweaty. There's also some other things you can put on your monster vest so they live out in the wild. And maybe your monster really loves the vines that they climb on. So we can draw some vines on our shirt, just like they would walk around and climb on where the wild things are. So here, you're going to make an angled line, and then you're going to start at the same spot and make it in another direction. And then maybe you want to start at the same spot and do another direction. And we'll come here. 1, 2, 3. And now you see they kind of look like tree vines coming out of the same spot. You can add them all over. After we're done, I would love for you to share your creations with us. Show us what kind of monster you are. Are you a scary one? Are you a silly one? Are you one that loves nature? So really get creative with your vests. The last thing I want to show you all how to make, besides your vest part of your costume, costume are some feet. Ooh, some scary looking feet that you can put on. I'm gonna come around and show you this one. So, well, the materials you're gonna need for this one are a pencil, a paper, and your scissors. So we're gonna start off, and you and your grown-up can tag team this one. You're gonna put your paper just right on the ground. And we're gonna stand right on it. Now we wanna make our monster feet bigger than our feet. So we are gonna trace our feet, but it's gonna not be right along our foot, probably like we normally do. So, Miss Heather, you wanna come in closer?
Mm-hmm.
That way they get a good view. So instead of tracing my foot right along my shoe, I'm gonna come out a little bit and make my foot really big. My monster is huge, all the way around. Whoa, that is a giant monster foot. Now we can kind of come back up here on our table. So now we're gonna add our monster claws. Now you wanna ask yourself, are my monster claws really dirty and long because he's running out in the woods? Or does your monster like to take care of his feet? Are they short? Do they have nail polish on them? You get to be creative and decide that one. But to add our claws, we're gonna put some triangles on top of our feet. If you wanna make them really long claws, oh, look at that. If you wanna make them really tiny claws, we can come there. The next thing you're going to mark before we start cutting our feet out is where we're gonna put our feet. So we're gonna make a T, the letter T, on the inside of our monster foot here. So just down and across. We don't want our T to come all the way to the edges of our foot. Otherwise, it might rip. So we're gonna put a T right in the middle. Now, you and your grown-up can work together on this one, what parts you can cut out and what parts they're going to cut out. So maybe you cut out all of these straight lines and some of the curves. And then when you're ready and your foot is all the way cut out, I'm going to show you this part of how to cut for your foot. So just like we folded our vest here, we're going to fold this piece of paper. And then we're going to cut right along that line that we drew. When we open it up, it's all along that line. Now we're going to fold it in the other direction. Just like that. And then we're going to cut on the other part of our T. Now, when your whole thing is cut out, you'll be able to slip your foot in. It's hard with my shoes on. You'll be able to slip your foot in and wear your monster claws. So you may not be completely done yet, but if you have your vest or your shoes ready, or if you want to pause this video if you're watching it later on, let's put our costume on and enjoy a wild rumpus together. So I'm going to take my shoe off to show you kind of how my foot goes on. All right, now I have my monster claw on my foot. I'm ready for my wild rumpus. This vest isn't going to fit Miss Ashlee, but for fun I'll try it on for you. I'll be a Hulk monster, because I bet it's going to rip off. All right, here we go. I've got my monster costume and my monster claws, and now I'm ready for a wild rumpus. So if you know the hokey pokey, you know the wild rumpus, and I would love for you to join in with me. Okay, I'm gonna step out. We put our right foot in, we put our right foot out, we put our right foot in, and we shake We do the wild rumpus and we turn ourselves about. That's what it's all about. Left claw. We put our left claw in, we put our left claw out. We put our left claw in and we shake it all about. We do the wild rumpus and we turn ourselves around. That's what it's all about. Whole body. We put our whole body in, we put our whole body out. We put our whole body in and we shake it all about. We do the wild rumpus and we turn ourselves around. That's what it's all about. All right, monsters, take a bow. Take a bow. A wild rumpus bow. Whew. All right, friends. That's all I have for you today. If we want to come together in our goodbye song, our Don't Worry, Be Happy, let's come around. If you were here last week, you know every week we're going to end on Don't Worry, Be Happy. So each week you'll know more and more of the words. And grown-ups, if you know the words, which I'm sure you do, sing nice and loud. Thank you all for joining us today. I'm so happy for another Pre-K Art Day. Please be sure to share your monster costumes because I would love to see all the crazy monsters that we have out there. All right, I'll count you guys in. Here's a little song I wrote. You might like to sing it note for note. Don't worry. Be happy. In every life we get some trouble. When you worry, you make it double. Don't worry. Be happy. Thank you all so much. I hope you have a happy and safe week. I hope you're finding moments to talk to those around you about what's happening in our world, having those conversations about race and inequality. And if you can't find the words and want to reach out, we have a lot of really great book resources. So send us a message and we're really happy to share those with you. And have a wonderful day.